Hello, good morning, friends. How are you? Good. Lockdown is really little boring, but we not have other alternative. So I have recorded this video for you to going to complete the open channel flow, especially the uniform flow. And as you know that we have completed in chapter 2 initially, and we have learned about the uniform flow. So here you can see that these are the two pictures which exactly will show you that what are the differences between the uniform and non-uniform flow, right? So in early chapter we have started actually to learn about the uniform flow, and as we know that it has the major application to construction of all kind of the artificial hydraulic structure, for example canal. And you can see here that also one rectangle canal has been constructed, and the water which are passed through these sections. So earlier we have referred that how we prepare the most economic cross sections of the canal, right? So these all the concept, but you can see at the time that when the water flow from the cross section, it is in uniform condition. It means the depth of the flow, the velocity of the flow, and discharge from the canal is constant in form of the certain, right? So this we consider as the form of the uniform flow. But today we are going to learn about that. Suppose the cross section of the canal, that the depth of the flow and the velocity per cross section of the canal or the channel are not uniform, then what kind, that how we could find out the maximum velocity or discharge or either the depth of the water from the channel. So at the time we are referring that non-uniform flow. So you see here in this picture, right, that the flow which are in different ripples which are generating on the surface, and that we consider as the non-uniform flow. The best example to understand about the non-uniform flow are the flow passed through the river channel or in the river. Not only the river, but we consider that the river or either tributaries or either all the natural type of the passages where the water will pass from one place to the other place, that we mostly observe that the non-uniform flow are generated. So these are the major example, and these we use mostly, this concept we use mostly to constructing, for example, the dam or either check dam or either barrage or either weir across the river, or either the most important example is construction of the bridges and location of the piers. So at the time we should know that what are the depth of the water, what are the velocity of the water, but finding out those we have to understand that first what means of the non-uniform flow, right? So this chapter are divided again in two part. First part where we understand that what is the non-uniform flow and what are the division of non-uniform flow. Earlier we have referred about the gradually where it flow and rapidly where it flows. Now we are going to learn it in detail in form of the non-uniform flow. Now every non-uniform flow we are measured by help of the specific energy, and this specific energy is the addition of EP plus EA. We say that EP is the potential energy and K will be the kinetic energy. So potential energy mostly we measure in form of the depth of water, and kinetic energy we measure in form of the velocity head. So these are the combination which form in form of the specific energy. Now this specific energy we can learn it by help of the specific energy curve. So these are the fundamental theory we are going to learn in non-uniform flow, where we try first derive that what means of the specific energy, and suppose the different depth of water which are received in any natural channel, then how the specific energy curve are plotted, right? The next task will be we already plot the specific energy curve. Now we want to derive that what are the critical depth. So we derive the equation for critical depth, then we derive the equation for critical velocity, and then we'll derive the equation for minimum specific energy. So these are the part 1 which we are covered in form of the non-uniform flow, and the second part which we are going to cover about the hydraulic jumps. Yes. So these are so important, because when the supercritical flow will meet to the subcritical flow, or either subcritical flow will meet to the supercritical flow, Or in another way, I say that if two different depth of the flow which will be interact each other, then the energy will dissipate in between, and this energy is dissipating in form of the hydraulic jumps. So these hydraulic jumps are important when we are constructing any kind of the hydraulic structure or the dam. Then mostly we observe that we are spilling the water from the dam to the downstream side. So preventing the scouring action at the downstream side of the dam, we are constructing the stilling basin, and we are providing the cut walls in the stilling basin, so that when the water will flow at the downstream side, it start to be dissipating, and this dissipation will start in form of the hydraulic jump. So there where we are utilize the major concept of using the hydraulic jumps in hydraulic structures. So these are the one of the best example for considering the hydraulic jumps. And then we derive the expression for the depth of hydraulic jumps. Then we derive the expression for loss of the energy due to the hydraulic jumps, length of the hydraulic jumps, and last we'll learn that about the gradually various flows. These all the contents I already provided in Google Class, so you might download it from the Google Class, or either the same content or modified content I uploaded it in Moodle platform. So you can download and you can refer. Find any difficulties, you contact me via my email. So let me start. Let me begin the section 1. Yes. So we started from, let I recap which we learned earlier. So the recap is about what means of the open channel flow. So we know that open channel flow means the flow which pass through the section under the free surface or under the atmospheric pressure. So these flows we consider as the open channel flow, and these open channel flow are divided in two parts. One is the uniform flow and second one is the non-uniform flow. Uniform, it means the depth, velocity and discharge per cross sections are uniform, whereas non-uniform flow we consider that the depth of the flow, velocity of the flow and the discharge of the flow per cross sections are not in uniform flow, right? So these are divided. We are starting it learning from the steady and unsteady flow. So if the flow characteristics such as the depth of the flow, velocity of the flow, rate of the flow at any given point are, it means it do not change with respect to the time, so that flow we consider as the steady, and unsteady is exactly the opposite to the steady flow. Now uniform flow, the length of the channel, the velocity of the flow, depth of the flow per cross section remain constant. These are most important part as per the cross section. So you can see that in canal, yes, it made by the artificial structures, right? It made by the human beings. So the cross sections in the canal are constant, but you can never see that the cross section in the river are constant, right? So these are the basic difference we are observing between when the uniform flow are constructed or when the non-uniform flow are constructed. One more observation might be you all experience that in canal structure you see that the bed are uniform. It is constructed by the concrete material so that the bed are uniform, so that the water will flow in the canal are uniform. But instead you can see in the natural channel, right, in the river, so you never see that the bed of the river are constructed. It is in natural form. So these natural form are constructed to erosion or deposition of the silt from one to the other places, right? So these are the major reason that why the non-uniform flow are generated. So non-uniform flow will consider as the depth of the flow, that the velocity of the flow and the slope of the channel are not uniform, then we'll consider as the non-uniform flow. I will show you the same by help of one small video where you can exactly identify that how the gradually varied flow and rapidly various flows are generated. So see it carefully. The every concept which are going to include in this chapter itself included in this video. So we see that initially at the upstream side of the small structure, the gradually various flow are generated. Then the water smoothly will evacuated from the place from top of the dam to the downstream side, and then you can see that how the critical, supercritical and subcritical flow will generated, and after that you can see the two different depth, it means the supercritical and subcritical flow will meet, then you can see that the hydraulic jumps are generated. So these are the second part, right? So here we initially interact about the upstream part, and later we are going to interact about the downstream part where the hydraulic jumps are created. So let you see the video that how, see that the water is pass, and gradually the water will be rise above the hydraulic structures. So these are the portion where you can see that the depth are drastically changed. So this depth you consider as H1, might be this depth you consider that H2, and this depth you can consider as the critical depth. So this flow we consider as the subcritical flow, supercritical flow, and the critical flow. Now you can see how the hydraulic jumps are created. So yeah, in this video you experience that the flow are obstructed, and now the small ripples which are generating on the surface, right? So these we consider as actually